So I would quickly take you through the process of, since trend forecasting is also a part of this session, I'll quickly would like to take you through the process of what are these trends and how do we translate them into products. So the entire journey start with the idea of trend. And what is trend? Trends are nothing but reaction to global events. So whatever is happening across the globe, the creative community reacts to it. We sometimes agree to it, sometimes we disagree to it, sometimes we pray and wish that I wish we could have a different perception about certain issues. So trends are nothing but just reactions. And when these reactions, if you reactions or wishes, I would, on a positive note, basically, if these wishes are pronouns, we make it into scenarios. Like if I want to vouch for peace, or if I want to vouch for nostalgia, what do we mean by, because otherwise these are very abstract terms. How do you translate them into something actionable? So that's where the trend boards and the trend visuals comes into place. So here you can see, for example, three trends are I've just put down here. First is rusticity, which is a trend of I'm sure a lot of you must be hearing this idea of how, when in times of distress, you want to you always hit nostalgia, that you want to go back to time and want to, that's where the comfort is. Hamare samay mein, as a lot of us say. So the first trend put in here is with the simplicity and nostalgia of earlier times, and which also means for the population across globe, all of us have some lineage into the villages. So the idea of remembering the rusticity of the villages is where the first trend comes from. The second trend is a reaction to the divisive politics that a lot of people across the globe feel very strongly for. So that means the global intersection is a trend that vouches for the uh, non-divisiveness of the world. So when I say what is a good interior of a house in New York City, it need not have everything from the America. And with open-endedness, you mix and match the best of both worlds, of the best of whole world. So basically, you can put together the representative identities all across the globe into a beautiful looking composition, is where the global intersection comes from. That's what this trend represents. The third trend here is the azure fields, as you can see. It's a trend that basically vouches for the color blue as a peacekeeping, as a uh, you know the usage of color blue as a soothing mechanism. So these are the first conversations that happens on a designer's table. That this year, if you want to put forward a collection, what do we work with? So the, we start defining the meanings and picking up themes, and also placing some objects that relate to that theme. That what has been done, and a very natural question here is, where do these objects come from? So. The mass market actually operates on the lead of the design shows and very high-end design studios. So people who are called thought leaders in the industry. So basically, they produce some examples of what uh, these they almost borderline between design and art, and where they produce these artifacts, and they become inspiration for the mass market to follow. Next. So then even we some more particulars start appearing, right? If you The previous slide was all abstract, so how do we get into actionable goals for a designer? So then some more details start popping in, so that if the trend is biophilia, we're looking at natural light, we're looking at handmade objects, we're looking at even softening of acoustics, softening of light, celebrating imperfection, which is wabi sabi. So some more details start popping in, and then we create on left. You can see there's a material palette. So basically, wood also as a material doesn't work in isolation. If I give you a room full of wood artifacts, it's an aesthetic that a lot of us might not be able to live with. So what do you combine wood with? What texture to combine with what color so that it pops really well and it creates an experience. Experience might be rustic, experience might be peaceful, but what do we put it next to? So to test that out, we do the material palettes, as you can see. Next. And then comes in the color trends, that if this season pink is trending, so then or orange is trending, what does it mean? What does it mean in terms of ceramic products? What does it mean in terms of wood products? What does it mean in terms of uh, what finish of wood would be popular for this season? So as you can see, if you're looking at uh, the 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 Pantone color of the year, let's say, is flamingo orange or red, then what tone of wood would go best with it, and where would wood products kick in? So if your walls are going pink, then probably you might want to have use wood as a soothing natural accent into it. Next. So similarly, another example of color trend could be something like this, which means um, an earthy tone. So here you can see how the wood finishes have also changed with this particular color trend. So we're using darker palettes, and then the brass kicks in. So and then of course the turned wood trends where the grain is very beautifully visible. So this sort of give and take between color trends and choices of wood happens. And then when all these trends are defined, the mass manufacturers receive these kind of briefs from the brands. So here you can see this is a brief from the company called Crate and Barrel, and they start getting very particular about what are they looking for. So you can see the product categories are enlisted here. So we need flower vases or magazines or baskets in this kind of tones. And so they share a lot of visuals to for designers to sort of interpret. This is another example of a brief. So briefs also focus on certain areas. That for kitchen we need this kind of items, for bathroom we need these kind of items, for gifting some other format. And what do you combine with? So the companies are actually this specific when they. So this is briefed by Crate Craft for the fall of 2020. Some more particular briefs, like we're looking at easy forms, we're looking at handworking, natural tones, turned wood forms. So very detailed discussions. I mean, from designer's perspective, if somebody tells us that this is what you're looking for, we are us one step closer to the clue of what exactly to do with this kind of information. Some more examples here. So these are hard goods category where we are combining stone, wood, ceramic, metal together. And of course defining new categories. As you can see, this is all tabletop accessories. So what all can go on table together, and it has to look like it's not something that has been seen before. So that novelty aspect is always being a struggle, because the buyers are these people who are making rounds all across the globe. They're looking at least 4 times a year. They're looking at huge spreads of 1,500, 1,600 products from one big manufacturer. So that look that they're looking for, I think their eyes are very well trained to. So then based on all the trends study, all the brand briefs, the manufacturers, they create a huge list of line plans, that what do we have to manufacture on a span of, let's say, 3 to 4 months between two export fairs. And of course these manufacturers keep getting visits from the buyers individually also. So if you can see, all these are the product categories. We have bar accessories, we have dining accessories, and look at the particulars. We have drinkware, kitchen accessories, serveware, lighting for floor, lighting for table, lighting for hanging, lighting for wall. Uh, what material? So if you look at wood has made it to every single category. Next. So these are examples of lighting, some more line plans. So home decor category, what are we looking for? We're looking for accents, which are very abstract category of like showpieces, bath accessories, uh, boxes. So this is all the spread. And based on these categories and line plans, a collection of 1,500 to 2,000 products is put together by almost major manufacturers across the country. So I'll quickly take you through the design process. That after all the line plans are made, the briefs have been received, the trends have been elaborated, begins the actual task. And as you can see, design is a very messy process in that sense. There is no sequence. It's not very analytical in number of steps. That's step 1 to 10. You have steps 1 to 10, but you might come back at any point of time, or you might skip at any point of times. But I'll just quickly show you how do we translate these ideas into tangible products. So the first step, after receiving all these details, let's say I want to create a bar cabinet. So we would make an entire categorical knowledge. We would study the existing product range. So this is a bar cabinet, which is done by this label called Anthropology, and it is priced at rupees 1,50,000. But this is the the sizing, the visual, and how much does it sell for. Then we would also map out everything that goes into it. Since it's an interactive object, we would want to know what are the glass size, what are the bottle sizes, what are the materials of the glasses and the bottles that would go into it. Apart from the static storage, what other accessories are needed? Do we need some wet areas onto this body? Do we need to put a tray? Like, what the choreography of the entire object with the rest of the setting that it would go into? What are the components into it? What are the ergonomics of it? What is a good height to pick up a bottle or put a bottle? If I am using a wet area on the top of the bar cabinet, what is a good comfortable height for the men, for the women to sort of use it? So, and last and not the least, we'll develop use cases around it. That if what is the choreography of using this object? Then we start with something which are ideation sketches, which means all the components, the bigger chunks onto the body of this particular furniture, we would try to mix and match and create a visual of it. That okay, where does the storage go? Where does the doors, the shutters go? Where would the legs go? So this is that sort of ideation of the components and the modularity. And then slowly, when the overall dimensions start defining themselves, we start defining components, that which is the main body, where are the legs, what are the materials that could be associated with the legs. And then when these ideas are clear, we calculate sizing. That okay, I need like a 2 by 2 section which is 6 to 8 inches long for this particular component. And with these sizing, I would go and check into the inventory, that do we have these sizes available, and what are the cost of these components in this sizing. And then the final look and finish test starts. So we would go isometric and create the overall body and the logic of construction, and if any texture that we want to put on it. So how does, remember when we were having this conversation about acacia wood and mango wood not being very great for carving? So all those decisions have to be made right now. Otherwise, if in the later stage you start changing, it sends a ripple effect of changing costs, changing sequence of production, changing production lot timings, and it creates a lot of chaos on that stage. So this decision has to be made at this stage. So the final visual is created, that what is the segregation, where are the shutter, where's the height, what's the tray like, how long are the legs, all those decisions are made. And we create a little 3D model. This is the final design. Hand sketching does help in ideation stage, but here we need to be very precise. So to be able to proportionately visualize the product, 3D visualization is used. And then any particular hardware that needs to be included is decided. And then the joinery, like if there is a there's a movement or there's a tricky assembly that has never been done before. So we would like to try that out by making just the joinery on full scale. Next. So here is an example of the joinery that was just sketched. It was all created along with hardware, and in the last image you can see a 1:1 prototype is made to test the movement that we predicted. Is it actually happening or not? Furniture design could be a very fictional process if you don't do these things. What might work on paper or 3D model might not always work on real scale. So that's why these aspects are important. Next. So, and then a scaled down model to test out movements and composition, stability, proportions and visuals, and sequence of assembly. Because sometimes we might think that, just like when you play with Lego blocks, a particular assembly is only possible after a certain number of steps, not before this, not after it. So then technical drawings are developed so that what has been decided could be very accurately communicated with the artisans, and they work on full scale printouts of these drawings. So when I'm making something on the machinery, I can put it on the paper printout and check that the sizes are fitting right. And based on this, prototyping happens. As you can see, the first image is turning the wood, the leg assembly, the legs are put onto the carcass, tested out for the fit, and then finally finished. Initially, all the use cases that were established are validated. We had speculated that it should hold certain weight, it should hold certain glasses. So all those accessories are also put into the furniture and then tested out. The usability of it is tested out. How comfortable is it to pick up the bottles, to put it back? How are the drawers? Are they smooth enough? Are the glasses clanking when you are withdrawing them or when you're putting them back? Some more like preparatory sequences are explored in this. And then last, we create a detailed estimate. So the cabinets that I just showed you, there was this family of 3 that we were able to prototype for 63,000 rupees, and it includes everything. Costing, one-time costing is different from mass production costings, but this sets a set of parameters that have to be kept in mind if you want to put this particular piece into production line. So here are some examples of some products that I also got to develop. So Elementary Home is a artisanal brand based out of Jaipur. And these are some of the products that I developed for them in 2019. So these are platters made out of mango wood. As you can see, since this is mango wood, there's not much carving into it. And I've used very plain profiles and curvy forms so that all the grains are packed together at any stage. So in long term, there's no decay because of sharp edges. Some more products, like the first ones, these are made in beech wood, and the dolls because of the carving. The second one is a development for H&M Home. H&M Home. This is done in acacia wood. Some wall accessories, then some candle holders and white ash. So white ash, as you can see, there is a fishbone pattern that is being made. So smaller pieces of white ash were stuck together and then turned to create this. And then, of course, we sometimes work with the scrap wood. The smaller pieces in the industry, they're actually joined together to create flat boards. And to hide the imperfections of the grain, we sometimes, in the last image, as you can see, we use lacquer and even the stains to hide the grain. This is another set of artisanal platters that I'd worked on. This is a combination of pine wood and rosewood and teak to create replicating a tuxedo. Next. Some knockdown furniture, again developed for Elementary Home. And these are all recent developments, and these are things that are going to be launched. So as you can see, this is a tray table made with a combination of mango wood, cane, and metal. This is another set of developments for Next Home, which is a brand based in UK, where these are kitchen organizers. So it's a good example of combination of materials. So there's a magnetic board and there's a wood shelf, because to add a little bit of earthy touch, this mix and match of materials is desired. Next. Bench made in acacia, stained acacia, and coconut rope. Next. This is a series of toolless assembly products. So, flat pack objects that you can assemble with your bare hands and no special tools needed. So it's a series of shelves, all done in wood. It has small features like a mirror, like a little bowl. So, and also, next. So this is the entire family. Some bits are using color, some bits are using a larger mirror, multiple levels of storage. So different varieties, same language, same logic. It could be maximized, and same detailing could be maximized into developing a collection. Tables, nesting tables, space-saving furniture is again it's an evergreen category. It all started in 1950s, but even now it's a very relevant, because how real estate and the home living situation is constantly shrinking. So this sort of solutions help. More knockdown. So this is a knockdown shelving system, which basically a very small box of flat pack furniture, and you can again assemble without any tools. It's all self-assembling. Some lamps, I mean, the lamp base over here is made out of solid wood. So smaller, again, scrap wood, smaller pieces joined together with adhesive and put under compression, and then they're used on lathe to create these. So these pieces are not structurally strong, but since these are accessories, this is where the low grade of timber could be used with good amount of staining. So I've covered the whole grain of this particular product with black stain and darker stains on the other side. Some more series of lamps, combination of glass and wood. Again, you can see the divisions onto, and even here in the first product, we used a texture on the surface to sort of, again, hide the imperfections. So this is more like an upcycling product category into the industry. Next. And all the products that are made have to be have to go through, apart from the certifications of the ethical sourcing, we have something like all series of tests that have to be done. So there's a packaging. All the products that we are developing have to go through.
Hello.
Yes.
Now we have two more speakers in this session.
Yes, yes.
So kindly conclude. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. There's some more tests that are industry standards. There's a facility in Jaipur that does these. Some new approaches. If you, this is a recent graduation project from one of my students. So he's working with a manufacturer in Jodhpur, and this project is to use the scrap into the industry to develop more products. So this is on the first image. You can see this particular smaller, thinner sections are generated regularly as a waste. So he joined all of them together to create these furniture concepts. This is also falls under the UN SDG goal number 12, which has to do with responsible consumption and production. Another kind of scrap could be converted into a different kind of product. And then wood, as it's an evergreen material, it still stays relevant. So this is another graduation project, and the student has used wood to create smart home furniture, which is, as you can see, all these furniture pieces are also speaker systems. So all of them come together to create a home theater range. So a table which could house a speaker system, and wood still stays the top material choice to create objects like these. Next. Thank you for hearing me out.